My name's William Melton. I'm an Anchorage, Alaska-based filmmaker, and I got to work with the Rivers Are Life crew this year on Impact Project 65, which was the Montague Island cleanup with Gulf of Alaska keeper. I've worked in Prince William Sound quite a bit, which is where Montague Island is. I'm the board chair for the Prince William Sound Stewardship Foundation. I was the director of photography for this project. It was great to kind of get back to my roots, living out in the Sound and shooting something that was very important to me and near and dear to my heart. So it felt very full circle to be back out in the Sound and working with people who believed in trying to take care of the environment. Something I really appreciated from the Rivers Are Life team is there was a real willingness to explore things in the moment. The story was very organic, certainly focused on the marine debris cleanup efforts going on out there, but so many details became so important to that story of how we got out there, how the crew was living, how they were making things work. Just keeping up with that pace of living in a marine environment and all the factors that come along with that. And I think we did a really good job of capturing kind of the realism of what it was like to be out there and how hard the work was for us, but especially the crew that's staying out there all summer. Filming in Alaska always presents its challenges just in terms of the weather. The logistics of getting around can be some of the most challenging aspects of any shoot. So for us, just to give you an idea, we took a boat out of Whittier, Alaska, which is on the western side of Prince William Sound. I think it was about a 4-hour ride from Whittier out to our base camp on Montague Island, which was a flotilla of boats that were all anchored up in a bay there, a protected bay. So every morning we were waking up, we were taking our pelican cases, and if it was raining, we just hauled the gear out into the rain, stuck it on an inflatable boat, took that boat to shore where the heli site was. Then in teams, we were moving both ourselves and our gear into the helicopter over the top of Montague Island for a 20-minute helicopter flight where we were spending the day on the windward side of the island. We'd spend 8 hours working and then filming on that side of the island too. So it was just a balance of keeping up with the equipment, making sure you had what you needed to hand, building out a gimbal on a monopod with the main camera mounted to it that had sound tied into it too, doing the best to keep all of that dry or not being blown over by gusts of wind. So just lots of delicate gear handling in an environment that was difficult to get around in. The log jams, we were walking around in driftwood log jams stacked up sometimes 20 feet deep that might be wet or just unstable. You never really knew. Just making sure you were all set to get that next interview or time lapse or drone shot, whatever it was. Just reflecting on it for this, I continue to be impressed with how smoothly it went. Everybody was where they needed to be. We never got weathered out. Despite the difficulty, I think we were really lucky in getting to shoot as much as we did and tell such a great story. I'd say the number one thing that I really wanted to get across, big picture, was just sharing the magnitude of the problem out there, of the marine debris problem. It's a so rarely visited area because it is so remote that if you haven't been there or if you haven't seen pictures or footage of the amount of marine debris that's out there, you would just never understand that it's a problem. Although these areas are extremely remote, they are impacted by human behavior, in particular litter and trash that's ending up in the ocean, and then it circulates out there, and then eventually it does make landfall. I loved getting to see what the Rivers Are Life team put together with the Montague Island cleanup film. I typically edit my own projects, so having come out and put so much effort into shooting this and to have Kelsey, our amazing editor, put this whole thing together was a new experience for me, so I loved the film. I think one of my favorite filming moments was shooting the interview with Trevor on board the Kai Kai. And the Kai Kai was the boat that the guys were living on. Most of our interviews happened in the field, and they were great and diverse backgrounds. But that was one time we got to set up the lighting kit, and the light was shifting because the boat is slowly drifting around its anchor. And so in some ways it just felt kind of surreal to be on this boat we were living in, and we had Trevor in the captain's chair and Cliff directing the interview. That was a cool moment. At one point, the light was coming in off of the water and then bouncing off the water, afternoon light, and then, reflecting up onto Trevor. And I just thought, wow, this feels like filmmaking in Alaska. So I think I'll always remember that. Another of my favorite sequences or things that we shot that I'm really glad made it into the film was the process of slinging the super sacks from where we loaded them on the beach over into a cache pile. So super sacks were these huge, super tough, giant plastic bags that we filled up with marine debris and trash from right around that area. So we kind of, every 30 yards or so, another super sack pile would start, and we'd fill them up. But towards the end of the whole effort, then the helicopter came in, and it had a huge cable hanging off of the bottom, and it would fly over. They'd attach the super sacks onto the bottom of this cable and move them, so they'd all be in one big pile for when they're eventually going to be put on a trash barge and taken out of there. So just filming that whole process was really challenging, because for some of it, you wanted to be right up close and getting the details of the pneumatic hook grabbing onto the super sacks and releasing. And for some of it, you had to be 200 yards away so you could actually see what was going on. I loved the edit and how that came together of the process of lifting those and moving them. You just never really see anything else like that. A bunch of marine debris just dangling from underneath a helicopter out in the middle of nowhere. If you don't have these visuals, if you don't have some program like Rivers Are Life who are willing to send people out there and really show you what it's like, it's just one of those things you'd never experience in day-to-day life. So that's hugely important to me, that we got out there, that we took the filming process really seriously. We brought the right equipment to really capture the problem that we're seeing out there with marine debris and how much of it there is, and then also the difficulty in the process of removing it. And why I think that's important is because at the end of the day, we're treating the symptom of a problem. We're picking up trash that's being deposited in these remote islands and barrier islands. But this is happening everywhere, and I hope some people see this and it shifts their perspective a little bit on keeping our waterways cleaner, keeping our oceans cleaner. One thing that was really reinforced with working with Rivers Are Life is that rivers are also highways to the ocean. So things that are ending up in rivers are ending up in the ocean, for better or for worse. It's great if you're a salmon. It's not so great if it's marine debris or what will turn into marine debris. Just sharing what a massive issue this is one of the most important aspects of this whole project.